The CEO had signed billion-dollar deals without blinking, but that night, in a quiet corner of a near-empty restaurant, his hands began to shake. He had just paid for dinner for a homeless family sitting a few tables away, thinking it would be a simple, anonymous act of kindness. He never expected the smallest child to walk past his table moments later, and leave something behind that would stop his heart cold. Because what the child left wasn't money. It wasn't trash. It was a message from a past he had buried so deeply, he believed it was gone forever. Before the story unfolds, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of compassion, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel Kind Vibes. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Ethan Kross was a man who lived in glass towers and silent penthouses. As the founder of a global tech empire, his days were filled with meetings, contracts, and constant motion, yet his nights were empty. No laughter, no family dinners, no reason to rush home. The city admired his success, but no one noticed how alone he truly was. That evening, exhausted and restless, Ethan walked into a modest restaurant instead of ordering room service, craving something warm that wasn't delivered in a box. That was when he noticed them. A thin woman with tired eyes, two small children pressed close to her, their coats worn and clearly too light for the cold. They sat quietly, sharing a single plate, trying not to draw attention. The youngest child kept glancing at other tables, not with envy, but with curiosity, as if wondering how such different lives could exist in the same room. Ethan felt a familiar ache in his chest, the kind he usually silenced with work. Without announcing himself, he signaled the waiter and asked to cover their meal. No speeches, no introductions. Just food, warmth, and dignity. The family ate slowly, carefully, as though afraid the moment might disappear if they rushed it. When they were done, the mother nodded gratefully toward Ethan from across the room, her eyes shining with unspoken relief. He nodded back, already telling himself this was enough. One good deed, one quiet night, but as Ethan stared into his untouched dessert, the youngest child slipped away from the table. Small footsteps approached. Ethan assumed the child was heading to the restroom. Instead, the child paused beside his table, climbed slightly onto the chair, and gently placed something next to Ethan's glass before running back to their family without a word. Ethan looked down, confused. What he saw made the world tilt. It was a folded paper crane. Neatly made, carefully creased, something he hadn't seen in decades. His breath caught as memories flooded back, memories of a tiny apartment, a struggling childhood, and a little sister who used to fold paper cranes when they had nothing else. She believed each crane carried a wish. They made hundreds together when their mother was sick, wishing for healing, wishing for safety, wishing for a life that didn't hurt so much. On the wing of this crane, written in uneven handwriting, were words that shattered Ethan's composure: "Thank you for seeing us." Ethan froze, his successful, controlled exterior cracking for the first time in years. He didn't remember the last time someone had thanked him for simply seeing them. He looked up as the family stood to leave. Acting on instinct, he rose and followed them outside into the cold night. He didn't introduce himself as a CEO or a man of power. He introduced himself as Ethan. The mother explained their situation without shame: lost job, rising rent, shelters full. The children stood quietly, the youngest clutching a backpack decorated with paper cranes. Ethan knelt down and asked the child why they made them. The answer was simple: folding cranes made the child feel hopeful, even when everything else felt scary. Ethan swallowed hard, realizing how long it had been since he'd allowed himself hope. That night didn't end with miracles or dramatic rescues. It ended with Ethan arranging a safe place for the family to stay, connecting them with resources he had always had access to but rarely thought about. It ended with phone calls, quiet promises, and something new forming in his chest, a sense of purpose that money had never given him. In the weeks that followed, Ethan didn't just help that one family. He started showing up at shelters, funding programs, and listening to stories he once walked past. But more importantly, he let himself be human again. The paper crane stayed on his desk, a reminder that kindness doesn't echo in boardrooms, it echoes in hearts. Near the end of the year, Ethan received a small envelope in the mail. Inside was another crane, and a drawing from the child of a table, 3 chairs, and one smiling figure standing nearby. No name, no title, just a moment captured forever. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to Kind Vibes so more stories of compassion can reach the world. And before this video ends, tell us in the comments, have you ever experienced a small act of kindness that changed everything? Because sometimes, the smallest hands leave behind the biggest reminders.